So, Black Panther Wakanda Forever is finally out in theaters and IMAX screens alike, and if you want to know whether or not you should check out this emotional roller coaster of a movie and pay the extra money for IMAX, well, let's get into it. Hello friends and welcome back to the Brockopp side, a place to live, talk, and buy movies. And yes, real quick in case anybody was actually wondering, I did manage to get the really cool AMC Theaters Black Panther popcorn bucket. This is super cool and fancy, and yeah, it even lights up too, which is really nice. Coolest shit ever. But if you guys have actually seen this movie, go ahead and comment down below what your experience checking out the movie was. Did you like it? Did you dislike it? What'd you see it in? But for everyone else, let's start talking about the movie. Now, this movie had the near impossible task of carrying on the franchise after Chadwick Boseman's sudden death back in 2020. I know a lot of us were on the fence about how Ryan Coogler and company were going to pull this sequel off, myself included, but I think this movie ultimately does succeed in every way imaginable. This movie is a visceral and emotionally hard-hitting experience right from the first frame. Letitia Wright absolutely shines this time around as Shuri, as she's dealing with King T'Challa's passing, but not really giving her the chance to actually process through her grief, which is what carries a lot of the emotional weight of the movie and really manifests itself so perfectly in this one scene later on, but I won't spoil it for you just in case. But aside from her, everybody brings their A-game in this movie, including Teno Huerta as Namor, who brings this great level of charm, but also ruthlessness to the role, which makes him one of the better MCU villains we've gotten in quite a while. The movie takes its time to develop the characters and their story arcs, not necessarily rushing to action set pieces or setting up 10 different MCU projects, so that it feels like everything just pays off so well in the end. It is the perfect way to end off Phase 4 in the MCU. But what about the fancy, really big, cool screen? You're probably asking because it's in the title of the video, and I'm sure that's why you clicked on it. Well, hang on, I was getting there, alright? So, without further ado, let's talk about the IMAX experience. Now, the one question I think it is important to ask of any movie getting released in the IMAX format is whether or not the movie was shot on IMAX cameras at all, because otherwise a movie won't take full advantage of the IMAX screen and be locked down to a more 2:3:9 aspect ratio. So, was Wakanda Forever filmed in IMAX? Yes. However, it is used sparingly, which does make sense because filming on IMAX is incredibly expensive, so for a lot of major movies like this, it's reserved usually for a few of the really big spectacle action sequences. But the way director Ryan Coogler uses the format, just like everything else in the movie, he makes it count. Naturally, the big final battle of the movie was shot on IMAX. You get the full scope of this epic fight between the Wakandans and the Talikans, which of course is your usual MCU CGI-riddled action spectacle, but this time around it's a lot more contained to one location for the most part, and it looks like the VFX team was actually given enough time to make the VFX look as good as humanly possible. Now, of course, while it is cool to see things blow up in IMAX, my favorite use of IMAX in the movie was when we get to see the underwater kingdom of Talokan for the very first time. Which, if you know the comics, was changed from Atlantis like it is in the books, which that change I'm totally okay with because I think the way it's used in the movie is effective. But this sequence is so sweeping and beautiful, the visuals and the music were perfect, that it just had to fill the screen to get the full experience. That's not even scratching the surface of the incredible cinematography throughout the entire movie, which of course you do get just a little glimpse of in the trailers. But naturally, it is a Marvel movie, so there are gonna unfortunately be those pretty obvious green screen shots here and there, which the IMAX of course will bring a lot more emphasis to. Just warning you about that. Plus, I don't know what planet composer Ludwig Göransson beamed down from, but he may have delivered one of the best soundtracks in the entire MCU, which just perfectly ties together so many exciting and emotional beats throughout. The IMAX showing does it justice for sure, but this movie also has many quiet moments which just kind of force you to sit there with your thoughts and fully process what's going on. Which, staring at a massive theater screen with incredible surround sound will help with that a lot. So overall, Black Panther Wakanda Forever is probably the best movie in Phase 4 by far, while delivering an incredible experience both visually and emotionally. This does not feel like your average MCU movie, right down to the post-credit scene, which again, not going to spoil, but yeah. And yeah, maybe do shell out the extra $5 or whatever to get an IMAX. And then also maybe shell out the extra $24.99 for this thing. Because I mean, come on, look at it. So, as for the movie itself, I'm gonna give Black Panther Wakanda Forever a gold unboxing machete. And as far as the IMAX experience goes, I'm going to give that as well a gold unboxing machete. So those are my thoughts on Wakanda Forever in IMAX. If you want to see how another superhero movie looked in IMAX, I got a video for that right over here. Otherwise, subscribe if you live, talk, and buy movies, and we'll see you on the Brockopp side.